Hey everybody, it's Chance here with yet another episode of Pathologic. And not only is it another episode of it, it is the last episode of Pathologic Classic HD. Last time we did all of day 11, honestly, where we basically went around and chose our sacrifices. By our sacrifices, we mean everybody. As it is essentially confirmed that Clara's miracle making makes her bound's blood that of Simon's, which means essentially if she sacrifices the people instead, the tower gets to stay, the town gets to stay, we get the panacea, everybody's happy, so to speak anyway. Interestingly enough, the only people that Clara could back out on not sacrificing were Katerina and Alexander Saburov, which was just sad. I kind of wish what would have happened if I was like, no, don't. Would they have been like, no, sacrifice me anyway? Kind of wish I did it now, but you know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys 100%. I will replay this game sometime in the future because I do want to sit down and do like an honest playthrough of the game where I genuinely try to play through it. Now that I kind of know what happens, it kind of would make that a little easier too, to kind of navigate. But I don't want to replay this game anytime soon, you know, like it's gonna be some years in the future when I like haven't touched the game in a while and don't really remember anything. I mean, I'll still remember things, of course, but some of those specifics maybe not. I also I did it right when we clicked off because we weren't able to get any more panacea, or we weren't able to get any panacea or any schmouters. There is a really interesting tension though with the changeling route though, where you have opportunities to give yourself better reputation, to wound your bound, and it doesn't seem like your ending depends on you. The ending seems like it'll happen as long as all of Clara's bound are healthy. So I think like theoretically you could choose the wrong options every time, get everybody sick, and then heal everybody by choosing, and then you would obviously not be able to heal anyone else's bound. Or in the case where you take the loss of permanently infecting a district to get a panacea from Haruspex, which would kind of add a level of difficulty just so you could heal other bound. I am going to heal everyone's bound because I'm interested about the narrative, just like what'll be said kind of thing. So yeah, I am going to heal everyone else's bound. It's interesting because it like gives you the option to choose the other choices, and you're basically like playing along with that main character, with those other main characters, to be like, I'm gonna heal your bound, and maybe I'll choose you. Like in Bachelor, the Bachelor was never going to choose something else. The Haruspex, I don't think he would. It's difficult, right? Like, he is a bit more, he thinks about the utopian choice, even though I don't think he was ever going to pick the utopians, right? Like, he's a termite, and I think that ending is the best ending for that team, especially with Haruspex making it so that like you have to complete everything to make it to that choice even. I think it's so interesting how they center this idea of a choice, but the route is about you making a specific choice and about kind of following a trail of a specific choice that was always going to happen. And I think there's something really fun and interesting about choosing something else, you know? Like, the ending is the conclusion to the tale. It isn't necessarily like, you know, like, watching a video of all the endings of Pathologic isn't going to necessarily make everything clear to you. Like, in no way does it. It's more about what made sense for the characters at play, which is really fun. But yeah, that being said, we kind of have an idea of what our ending here is going to be, obviously. Yeah, so, you know, let's get into it. Let's finish this game off proper. Now, we still haven't officially ended day 11, but, you know. So yeah, I basically gave myself a bunch of panacea because I only got one schmouter. And, yeah. Also, other big update. I'm tired. Hey, Block. So I just gotta make my choice tomorrow. What am I doing? What's my stats like? So I want a sleepy... I need to get it out of this district first. I have a bunch of food and a bunch of nonsense, so... Alright, let's go to the sleep. What would be the best place to sleep? It doesn't really matter because I want to talk to everyone. So let's go, you know what? Let's go hang out with our mom and dad. Another big thing is I got a new microphone. I got a gift card from one of the doctors I work for. And I was thinking, like, I've been wanting to get, like, the mic and the whole setup. But I haven't been able to, because it's just like that. I don't need it, technically. But it's something I would like to have. So yeah, so that's a new mic. It's very, the audio quality sounds pretty good from what from me doing a playback, and data. All right, so I don't need to put anything away. There's nothing in here. All right, let's heal up. Not like I really need to worry about it, but I'm, you know, better be safer than sorry or whatever. All right. So 22, because it's not until like 7 o'clock or whatever. So let's just sleep.
The day is over. Your timely efforts allowed your supporters to remain unharmed. A new mime performance is being rehearsed at the theater.
All right. Oh, let me see. The final proceedings. This is the last day we have left. The choice has to be made. It sure does. Any letters? Nope, nothing new. Oh yeah, but I got a new mic. It is... I basically just have the mic right now. I'm gonna get, like, I also... The reason it was like a splurge thing was because if I was gonna get the mic, I wanted to get a whole setup, so I have an arm to kind of connect to the desk and bring closer to my mouth. Gonna get a pop filter, so it's gonna be really poppy right now until I get that. Hopefully I get it, but hopefully I like contain myself for long enough to wait until I can fully set that up before recording the next episode I'm going to record, which will be Pentiment. Let's talk, because we'll do a lot of walking.
What has this town turned into? Truly a country of contradictions.
Sorry, loud door sounds are scaring me. I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. Let's see. I'm not sure that I want to accept that title. I'll tell you when your time comes. Don't say that, Father, and forgive me like I've forgiven you. I'll tell you when your time comes.
My path was called the restoration of power. I wanted to bring strength and dignity back to our country. I could have become the ruler if not for the plague.
Fascinating. I think it's like also not subtle that Alexander Block is Alexander, you know? I mean, Alexander, very common name, but it's, you know, when you name, when there's only one other character that's named the same. I'm not sure I want to accept that title. A mistress is not a title. Once you have crossed a certain line, you become the person everything hinges upon. How will you use this gift is a different matter, but you are no longer in a position to refuse it. So, what disposition are you going to make of our town? Do you have any parting advice to give me? You are truly a saint. Or could my reason be so clouded with grief that I fail to hear the sarcasm in your voice? No, I wouldn't want to think so. Do you really want to hear a few behests from me? Yes, I'll do what you weren't able to do, Father. After all, the adverse fortune that married your brief 10 years of ruler were quite extraordinary. Then I will be concise. First, find someone among the Kynes or the Ogomitskis on whom you can rely on as yourself. Let them preside over the Bull Project. Let them send reports to the capital. Metropolitan bureaucrats are our greatest menace. They doze off when the freight trains arrive on schedule, but wake up the moment something goes wrong. Why is that a threat for us? They will not let us build our life the way it was intended. The brittle magic of our community will be trampled underfoot. Our erstwhile blissful existence will be irrevocably gone. Everything will be completely different. New people will arrive, and the deadening power of the state will lay down its law here. Do not let that happen, as we didn't let it happen before. Will I be able to do it? You'll do fine. You'll devote yourself to other things. You'll be spinning your yarn, while your chosen regent must be cunning. He must learn to mislead them, to mask our distinctiveness. He must not let them redevelop the northeast line any further than the Gork-Torn estuary. He must be cautious. I know what to do. Those who favor hard logic and direct action are bound to be misguided. But I can work miracles, and my hands are untied. Alright, let's go to our mom. And then what time is it? Because I want to see the theater show, so we'll go there. But yeah, I got a new mic, partially because I kind of wanted like a mic that, because I have, my current mic is attached to my headset. And I usually try to get it out, but I don't always successfully do so. So it gets annoying to edit out those sounds, and at least this way it'll minimize me bonking against it because it's not like right next to my face.
My stomach hurts as if I was filled with straw.
I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. For as long as you're alive, you'll remain the mistress. It is I who bow to you. Heed my advice, dear daughter. Be smart. Don't repeat my mistakes. You will not be alone here. Maria is ascending to the fullness of her powers, right now at the same time as you, whilst Capella, the tardy one, will take a few more years to awaken. Do you understand what this means? No, not quite. What? A period of your antagonism with Maria is beginning. Along what lines will it be? Which of you will be the good one, and which of you wicked? Will it be up to the Kynes once again to determine the meaning of good and evil? How are you able to take the good path if Maria doesn't choose the evil one? Why divide everything into good and evil right away? Could that have been your mistake? Our mistake? That is what I thought. When I chose my own dark path, I thought the conflict was not between good and evil, and that neither good nor evil existed. That wasn't true. For it is in the nature of humans to translate even a dichotomy of red and green to the language of good battle. For it is in the nature of humans to translate even a dichotomy of red and green into the language of good battling evil. We are doomed to make choices. Let's see. But did you really choose evil? Now I now think I did. Nina could control it at the time, and I couldn't. Nor was Nina wearing the black tiara. But don't put your trust in what's more alluring, more attractive. That is usually where evil lies. And yet, I'd still like to ask about my sister. Did she exist, or didn't she? Back then, a week ago. What kind of answer would you like me to give? A truthful one. She didn't, daughter. We had you, and only you. You showed up many times, and were different each time. I know. A mistress cannot lie. Yeah, because I mean, it's text that she doesn't have a sister. I am curious of how they adapt it, because I don't think it is as simple as like, oh, you have dissociative identity disorder. You have a good twin and an evil twin. Oh ho ho. It lines up with like the lack of memory, but it also doesn't work like that. Like at all. So let's go to the theater first, and then we'll go around talking to everyone. We'll have more than enough time, so it's fine if I waste some, honestly speaking. Oh, I'll need to heal people too. Well, if I'm going to everyone, that's just gonna happen, so. Yeah, I do not think it's that easy or that just like straightforward. I do think that it is playing with playing with a different idea. Like she's a person of the steppe, she's a story figure, you know, like I don't think it's as simple as there were multiple of you. And theoretically you could have chosen to be quote unquote the evil one, as it were. I don't need to grab that. The evil one, as it were, just due to the nature of, you know, how you were playing theoretically, which... I don't know. Right? It's interesting, because it's like you kind of get a choice on who you're making sick by like doing the main quest. Which theoretically before you would only gain if you failed the main quest. And that adds a level of interesting dynamic to that whole thing. I think it's just really interesting. I don't clearly you're hearing me trying to figure out my thoughts on it, but I'm not quite there.
Whatever you do, you'll have to sacrifice something.
Destruction is inevitable. There's no miraculous way out.
So that's what their thought process is, see? There was nothing to hope for from the start. Each of them should simply fulfill their purpose. At least, we'll see which one works best.
Each of them wants to save that which is dear to them. Perhaps they could get along?
Out to the question. The meeting chamber is tight, with the general sitting at one side of the table and the Inquisitor sitting at the other. Only one of them will decide. The others will die.
The theater is empty again. I have to say that that one is definitely like one of my favorite like theater, like the actual performance without any of the dialogue being spoken. The imagery is just so good. And it's like, yeah, you made it to day 12. Hell yeah, brother.
If we're in the majority, the fragile polyhedron will be left untouched. We'll manage to sustain life in it. Maria can do miracles.
I would have no future if not for you. The cause that I serve could fail without me. Thank you. So what kind of future is destined for you? The town will be rebuilt. We will transfer it to the other side of the river. The land is clean there. No one will disturb us. The polyhedron will become the foundation of a new settlement, just like the abattoir had become one for the doomed settlement. And a new era will set in. I'm afraid this time will never come. We are too few now. I won't succeed by myself, of course. Every person counts. Do you know how many of us have survived? My mission here is not yet complete. There will be enough of you. And then obviously, that's going to be what all the utopists say. Yeah. It's a lot to think about, frankly. We'll go down this way. It doesn't really matter which way we go, honestly, because we'll kind of have to trail back anyway. Because, you know, we're probably going to be talking to the Bachelor a couple times. We're going to be talking to the Haruspecs a couple times. We're going to be going to the Polyhedron, probably. I mean, we already know about the kids. That's, like, the craziest part about this route to me, is that you meet those children on day 9. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, this game has been a wild ride. Why am I doing that?
What?
Okay, this is the usual. Alright, there's nothing new from him. Understandably. It's interesting, because, again, I mean, I definitely discussed it during Bachelor Route. But then making it an HD so you can't kill Vlad, that you can sacrifice young Vlad. It's really interesting how they, like, walked that one back out of all their decisions. I can, like, understand from a design standpoint, maybe there was also something bugged about it as well. That means they were just like, it's just strange because they didn't make, like, any other edits, you know, like, from what I hear anyway, because it's like, apparently the block was always broken. They didn't fix that, you know. I mean, I think it was, admittedly, it's also like they, also the other thing is that they, sorry, I'm getting distracted again. It's also that they, bro, I can't remember what I was saying. Bink, bink, bink.
Dad used to bring food from the factory.
If you didn't take care of me, who would breathe life into our town again? I will have so many things to do in 5 or 10 years. Thank you, thank you. Do you think this town will be able to take a new lease of life? Definitely. It won't be easy, of course, but life has to be fought for, otherwise it's not real. Do not tear off the umbilical cord that has been feeding all of us since the beginning of time. These things are already going extinct almost everywhere. Is it really worth the effort to do your best for the sake of such a wretched place? And what about my friends? I won't be able to do anything about that without them. Are they alive? Is it possible to visit them already? Not yet. I'm not done yet. Alright. The termites. You know, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about in this game. It's a really interesting work. Like, there's something really interesting, like, 'cause it's like, I know it's been remade. That it's being remade, there are remakes happening, Patho 2 is well beloved, and stuff like that. But there's something really interesting about this being revisited, which is like, there's a certain fascination of it to me, you know?
My path.
Oh, whoops, I interrupted him.
What?
Damn, he was about to say what his path was. I don't remember if I got that before. Let me see if I can spawn it, maybe. Notkin, please.
My path was called Soul and a Halves. I wanted to create a tight brotherhood of children and animals.
Okay. I think I have heard that before. I remember that. Bleh. I remember that. All right. Yeah, I'm really interested, because I do think, like, there being multiple years of this work, for instance, right? Like, I think that works toward what the ideas it's playing with are. Sorry, I sneezed. But, God, whenever it's, like, something normal happens, that it just breaks me out of my concentration and my thought. Ugh, bad grief. Help me out here, buddy.
What?
I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. Not out of fear, I hope. Out of love, little tot. Pure love, all white and crunchy, like freshly starched linen and all. Come on, think about it. Who do I got to go fearing? No one. For, as you've most correctly guessed, I ain't feared barley too. In the fear, you ask? Just for show. Although, I do fear myself, I suppose. That's true. We have no one to fear except ourselves. Back then, you see, you figured out the sheer scale of my nastiness, just how much of a villain I was, didn't you? And then you just froze in place, and my heart sank, and I thought, so much for ever being forgiven. That's a little tot's gonna condemn me. But you didn't. You forgave me, and I was never the same again. I'd be happy to give my life for you now. I swear to God on my own accord. Happy? Honestly? You won't find a more faithful servant from now on, no ma'am, for I have repented. All my cutthroats would die for you too. What is your command, mistress? My life for you. Me, becoming like Simon, could I have even imagined? But even the old man could never have become someone like you. Repent, repent. You've all got time to see if your new sentiment is sincere. It's so interesting, because it's like the thing that's kind of the linchpin convincing point of the changelings, kind of thing is like, no, like, you will be remembered as something you were not. And that legacy, and it is a story about legacy, right? It's very much about family and everything, and like those connective tissues. So there's something really interesting about like, this is going to be your lasting legacy, and this is, you know, right, like at the story, in a story, the lasting legacy is what sits with you, even if it's not necessarily true. You know, history is about how that story gets twisted very clear. Like, our stories are about how history gets twisted in that way, too. War criminals becoming a part of the enemy's army and stuff like that. You know, like, not an uncommon thing that occurs. There's something really interesting there. And I do remember what I was saying before, but I'm going to talk to Ruben now.
If there's enough people like me, the town will stay the same. We'll surrender ourselves to Clara unregretted. A rotten life belongs to the new mistress.
I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. Tell me, what's it going to be like when, you know, the time comes? Do you want the exact details? I'm going to have to settle down here, aren't I? Block is inviting you to come along. He'd like to take you straight away with his army, right? That's not the issue. You can be in both places at once, can you? Such is your nature. You'll stay here with us forever, and at the same time you'll go to war, alongside Block and his army. Your nature could easily allow there to be two of you. You're talking about spiritual grace, right? Whereas I'm talking about myself. Well then, this is how I see it. We will be vigilant at all times. As soon as there's a new outbreak somewhere, we will board up that house at once, or that district if need be. Thankfully, it can be done, given the peculiar town planning here. My master did that 5 years ago. You will immediately pick someone up from among your bound and... How long will one person last us? I don't know. Possibly forever. It's said that the town's survival hinges on the 7 righteous ones. You said yourself that 7 would be enough. So you think all I have to do is just lay my hands on them once, and it will be done? I don't think once will be enough, and you'll have to do it in public to avoid rumors and speculations. At any rate, I'll make the extracts and see what happens. We'll try this and that. Alright, Stock. I've understood your plan. You're going to have to be the last one in the chain. Even more interesting, right? Like... I really love Ruben. Ruben is such an interesting character. Like, at the end of the day, the writing in this game, absolutely stellar. It, like, understands what it's doing. It's playing, like, quick and loose with the ideas of, like, ideas of, spirituality and stories of that regard, but it's like, and it more specifically, it plays fast and loose with, like, what should be the focus and what's most important. And I mean, I think the game believes that the story and the game believes that both of those things are intrinsically important and dependent on one another, that they cannot stand by themselves, right? Things that are, like, you know, like the Bachelor wishes to create a miracle and believes the tower is said miracle.
Hard. It's hard.
Oh, this is interesting. They gave him the, This is so funny. They gave him the termites dialogue. I'm not... Oh, that's so funny. And it makes sense that you wouldn't be able to... Usually you aren't able to talk to him at this point because he sacrifices himself. That's so funny. I have so much to do in 5-10 years. This is meant for the small children. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, man.
My path was my namesake, was called Capella. Were it not for the plague, I would have spread a heathen cult among the children. Then parents would have lived forever.
Oh, very funny. But yeah, what I was saying before is, like, how it kind of plays into itself, because it is kind of about you know, just like you have three healers who kind of change the way the story is played, how the actors act against themselves and everything, which adds an interesting element to the fact that the story is being retold again, right? Like, I'm curious of because I know that there are different relationships that are built out in Patho 2 that are not at all mentioned in this game at all. Today is the final day. You have less than 14 hours to make the right choice. Day 12, in which it becomes possible to do the impossible. It's so interesting. The children can come back to this playground whenever they want. The town and the tower will still be here. Good for them. What's poppin'?
Slow and steady wins the race.
So, do you still think I'm a demon? It appears that you've been helpful. Without you, Reuben wouldn't have discovered what my calling was. In the meantime, I've realized what my mission was. Yes, do tell me. Please, it's very interesting. How did you wriggle out of that trap? I didn't. I'm a hero. Better to be a trapped hero than a free, isn't it? You're forgetting about freedom. All that's happening here is happening for your freedom's sake. Do you understand? No, I don't. But you do seem to have got it mixed up. You think, don't you, that what happened here was all on your account? Yes, you're confused. But then allow me to take charge. Tell the commander. He listens to you with rapt attention. He wouldn't even bother listening to me. You can be persuasive. Perhaps you are right after all. Really? Then I can present to the commander with arguments in favor of a proposal that would preserve the town at the cost of destroying the tower. This is a wise arrangement and, as my heart tells me, a lasting one. I'm thinking about the future of my community. What will you need for it? I will be present at the council if I know for sure the children Capella have entrusted to me with are alive. Then the time I've been meaning to spend making my rounds, I'll instead spending on preparing my evidence. Will you help me with my bound? I will. Have you got your panacea? I'm out of panacea. I'll have to use the last flax and the last batch of ingredients on the council as an argument in favor of my proposal. You don't need it, do you? You don't need it anyway, do you? Isn't it true that you can heal with your hands? I'll try to think of something. Only the Haruspecs will be able to convince the chess queens that his solution is the correct path. Before he attends the final council in the cathedral, he will have to make sure his bound are alive. They are Murky, Sticky, Notkin, Grace, Taya Tachik, Khan, and Capella. That's so interesting. You can create miracles, can't you? But cheating is kind of a miracle. Isn't it? Isn't it interesting? Alright. And then we'll go talk to him again after we heal all his bound. Because who have we healed? Let me see. We've healed Notkin. We've healed Murky. I don't know who the day 11 sick was, but we do need to heal Sticky as well. So we'll go to Grace, we'll go to Aspity, go to Taya. We won't be able to go to Oyen, which is an interesting thing. I mean, I'll try, I'll see it. I don't think so. Then we'll heal Sticky, talk to Peter. We should talk to Andre. We definitely should talk to Anna. Then we'll talk to Yulia, Lara, Block. then we'll go talk to Bachelor. And then go here. Then we'll heal Maria, and then we'll go back to Ava. And we'll go up to the polyhedron once we heal everybody. And then, once we heal everybody, we'll go back to Bachelor, Harspex, and then from there. Okay, sounds good. As usual, the last episode of the route's gonna be long, and especially since this is my last episode of this game. It's gonna be a little bit longer, ideally, because I'll be talking way too much. Oh, was she gonna say something? I bet you she was gonna say something and I wasn't paying attention.
Why don't they bring anyone here? If we, the outcast children, live, the town will grow to be a town of men. Capella will entrust us with it. We are the future of this land.
Oh yeah, I think what I was saying was, I keep interrupting myself, which is not very, useful. Because it's already this idea of, like, multiple point of views and kind of different play setting of the same stories. You get this interesting thing by remaking it by also having, like, what happens when the director is different or the cast is different, and, like, quite legitimately, because I imagine there's a large amount of staff that is different than from when this game was originally made in 2005 versus the 2015, I think, remaster, which is the one I'm playing right now, and then Patho 2, and then Patho 3, right? So it's fun to think about it in that element.
Pins are sticking out of the pores of my skin.
I bow to you, mistress of the earth. Well, sister, it's time to say our farewells. So it is. Can't say I'm not glad. Why? Everyone's glad to see me. What could possibly make me glad to see you? You're my way more successful rival. You have become what I couldn't. I'm jealous of you. There's nothing to be jealous about, silly. I've gone from a saint to a priestess of I've gone from a saint to a priestess of blood, a miraculous meat grinder. Oh yes, I wanted to be me. Me striding across the town in triumph, me going from house to house, carrying death on my black wings, me choosing who deserves retribution. An inevitable role, that. But look what I've become instead. A slave to the kin, a household familiar, a keeper of relics. That's not true. Oh, or... isn't it something to be proud of? I was saving the seat of power for a worthy successor, but I couldn't save that successor's subjects. You've killed them. I've saved who I could, and I will save even more. Come on! What's done is done. It's not like one could choose one's fate retroactively, or change the part of it that has already been fulfilled. One could. I can. That's what these things are called miracles are about. Yeah, because she's the one who gives Artemis' destiny to him, right? And helps him fulfill it. It is interesting when you run into the characters who are like have more of an attachment to other, right? Because Aspedy is one of the humble bound. One of the humble bound, but like it's like this interesting thing where she wishes she was a termite, or not even necessarily that she wishes she was a termite. She just wishes she could be on Artemis' side. Like even if the termites don't win, it doesn't it does, even if the humbles like don't quote unquote win, it's like that's not really what it's about. That's interesting, and you're just gonna get those different allegiances. Because you do interact with Khan more. You do interact with Khan more, like a little bit more in Bachelor route, and he's not one of your bound. But that's because he's in the polyhedron, right? So it's interesting. It is very interesting, I think. That element as well. I'm really curious of what they do in Patho 2. Because especially with whatchamacallit? Ooh, my brain is blanking on me. I am blanking so hard. Especially with like the idea of the bound and like the choices and different types of endings and everything. I'm really curious of what it does with that. I mean, it could be exactly the same. They might not even do necessarily anything special with it, but you know, options are available. And we got a letter, so let's go talk to Taya and then we'll read our letter. Taya, what's up?
Misfortunes never come alone. That's what Dad used to say.
Okay, let's read some letters. The Bachelor says goodbye. A high-flying bird you've become. The executors are watching you, barely able to hide a smile. And I don't like their smirks one bit. Soon enough, you're going to see that they were not smiling because they were happy for you. Beware, if you may, we were both trapped. Each one of us has suffered. A tailor-made deception. They say you are not like me, and that this is not something I would argue with. Moreover, I've just found out something utterly ridiculous about myself. Hopefully, your fate will not be a reiteration of my own. Be very careful anyway. Self-assurance is your worst enemy. I've learned of at least one way to achieve victory. Perhaps it may work well enough for you. Come see me if you will. Give me the benefit of the doubt, so to speak. D. It is so interesting how he is drawing that immediate parallel between himself and Clara. And I mean, I think I've been kind of saying it. I mean, I think it's the text, right? The Bachelor wants to create a miracle, and his miracle is beating death. Clara also wants to do a miracle because she can, right? And so there's this interesting thing where it's like he is recognized as someone who can create a miracle and could, you know, like he once able to create a miracle. Like he got very far in his life, he's very well accomplished, but I don't think it's the same, you know? I think he wishes for it so deeply. And I think he's like not worried, but he's like seeing like, because I don't think he can believe that. Okay. We can go in, alright, let's go talk to Oyun. But you have this like interesting level where he I don't know, like I think part of him like can't, like he understands, like I think he recognizes like she can do this, but I think a part of him still is like, I don't want her to do this. I don't want her to be able to do this because what it means for him isn't good, or useful in that same way. There's a lot of nuance and interesting character writing in this game, and again, I know Patho 2 is also well beloved, so I'm really interested in seeing how it tells the same or similar story and plays with those same topics. I am like so interested. Of course, I'm not going to be playing it immediately after this, but you know, I mean, I'm not going to be done thinking about this game or this series for very long, you know? Patho 2 is next, and Patho 3 is almost right around the corner, so...
If there's enough people like me, the town will stay the same. We'll surrender ourselves to Clara unregretted. A rotten life belongs to the new mistress.
I bow to you, mistress of the earth. I like it how, like, they have the same line that each character voices. I love that. I love that. And you, Foreman Oyen, why have you crossed my path? It's no coincidence, I know. I am a monster, mistress. A chimera. You are right when you called such human-like, double-natured beings demons. It's good that you'll destroy me with your magic hands. The evil I stand for will go down with me. It is unnatural to be double-natured. Your grandfather was a bull, wasn't he? True. You can see for yourself that my bloodline must be terminated. Evil channels through me, as through your counterparts. Something dark has been stirring behind their backs from before you came along and took charge. Now their dark soul is no longer with them. That dark soul is no longer with them, and you ought to drive them out. Wait, sorry. I'm gonna reread this. True. You can see yourself that my bloodline must be terminated. Evil channels through me, as it does through your counterparts. Someone dark had been stirring behind their backs before you came along and took charge. Now that dark soul is no longer with them, and you ought to drive them out. Don't let them lose. Don't let them loose. Have no fear. I won't. I wonder what that dark feeling it is you're feeling. Something that... It's fun, because it's like, there is something interesting about the idea of the player character, also. Because, like, again, like, I think it is playing with place and, like, with being plays and actors and stuff like that. But it's also... And it's playing with, like, kids playing with their dolls. And it's, like, also, like, it's a game. There is a player sitting down and playing this game. Which is really fun. Excuse me, pardonnez-moi. And that's really fun to me. That is genuinely really, really fun. And it does play with that, you know, like our characters here, right, like the developers recognize they are making a game where you are a person who does not exist in the world is playing with the characters like this, you know, like so, but yeah, games and the worlds they imagine. But yeah, no. I love a good story about stories, you know? That's all. Quite simply. The Bound of the Haruspecs are alive and well. May he be comforted by that. You should have enough time to prepare his argument for the proceedings. Oh, well, that means the other person who got sick was, a utopist.
It's like someone's pulling my strings.
Just checking off Sticky off my list here. Sorry, I put my phone right next to my mouse for some reason. I'm going through here, and this is how I get out. Alright, what time is it? 9 o'clock. We're fine. That's not really a concern at this point in the game. Could you imagine? That would be so funny. Game over. This was the final day, you dipshit. There was nothing to play. Oh, Peter got sick. What?
My path was called the Calligrapher. They have neither let me forget my achievement, nor destroyed me. That means it's just the beginning.
I've never heard that one. That's good. The tortured artist, after creating his art, is still alive. It's interesting because I mean, the way he acts, it's not a secret. Peter is doing bad all the time. But there is something interesting where it's like he created his masterpiece and then kind of expected to like perish along with the creation of it and then didn't. And so now he's just kind of just here, forced to like sit with himself in what he has done. And there's like, he's a utopist, but it's like he is being pulled along. He wishes that something else could happen, but that's not his fate. And he knows that. He was, by the start of the game, was always going to create the polyhedron. And the polyhedron was going to be the thing that weighs on him the most because of what it is. B.
Oh, I would have let my fists loose if not for these pins. I've had my share of dance. My path was called Larger Than Life. I've done everything I ever wanted to do.
Bing. I hope I still get the Haruspex' letter, because I would love to read that letter. It's only 10 o'clock though, so we'll see. It'd be a bummer if we don't, but like I'm not gonna reload.
Whose child was crying there?
I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. Look at me, Anna. You're afraid, aren't you? Look at me, Clara. Why did I chance to cross your path? What do you think? Could it be so that I could sing an ode to fear and give you a vivid example of what it leads to? Would you say that's why you've ended among the wicked? Of course it is. You've understood everything already. What does the caravan have to do with it? Children's bogeyman, one of those silly stories they tell one another after dark. Maybe it never existed. Maybe I never was with the caravan. Take a look at me. How could I possibly have been a singer? So you're a liar, too. I'm an embodiment of fear. I live in a world that's made of fear entirely. I may not have become a singer, but I've become the voice of fear. And fear has an unpleasant voice. Shrill, whiny, capricious, utterly unmusical. So if you're like that, why did our paths cross? Probably to prevent you from becoming like me. A voice, an entrancing voice, sweet as a dream and beckoning, is what you and I have in common. Do you understand? That is where we intersect. Not the caravan, not at all. forget the caravan. You, on the other hand, won't stop thinking about it. Oh, no, I don't care about that. I have already. So, is it going to hurt a lot? When is it my turn? I don't know, but I think not. A brief moment of pain, and then you'll attain the eternal life, dissolving in a multitude of hearts. Let's see if we can get her dialogue. Let's while we're here.
Life is hard. If there's enough people like me, the town will stay the same. We'll surrender ourselves to Clara unregretted. A rotten life belongs to the new mistress.
That one's a fun one.
My hair is disheveled and I used to sing every eve. My path was called the Angel of Death. I'm not sure myself what I used to be in the caravan. Life is hard.
Oh, that's interesting. The life is hard is appended right at the end of that one. That's fun. That's fun. Alright. So now, let's just head down and talk to the Haruspecs, because we finished his. Or I should head north, actually. I should talk to everybody. I'll get to everybody. It's gonna be a lot of walking. That's mostly what day 12 is. Walking and talking. And not much else. But it's the final victory lap, you know? You're just walking around this town. Remember what it used to be like to walk through this town without having to, like, worry about anything? Isn't it so interesting? And it is. Yeah, I'm really interested in what Patho 2's takes on all this stuff is. And yeah, let's go talk to Yulia.
As the mind endeavors to reach one goal, the heart insensibly drags us towards another.
I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. Do you have any parting words for me? You're an observer of people, so what do your calculations indicate? Wait. Give yourself a moment's pause. Are you sure you want to know what my research has yielded? You see, whether or not you take my calculations seriously, the moment you learn the results, you will have no choice but to act them out. This is merely my way of seeing the matter, though. So what do you say? Would you like to set off this tripwire of mine? I do. It won't do me any harm, in my humble opinion. You remain an indefinite value. As such, you will have walked the road that lies behind you. Your refusal to be categorized was your strongest weapon. However, this advantage will be stripped from you the moment you permeate into a constant. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens before the day is over. What kind of value have you become? That's the only actual choice you have. I'm not a Constance. I'm not Constance, I'm Clara, stupid. This is of no importance. Don't try to translate your perplexity into language that is legible to us. Cease this wordplay of yours. Didn't you see everyone disappear? You don't see anything but raw vectors now. Lines along which your effort may be applied. Well, really. Why did our paths cross, Yulia? Why are you one of the criminals and the wicked? I don't qualify as wicked, but you can call me a criminal. In a way. Just don't conflate the two. You see, I am of the opinion that it was your duty to end us. Didn't I just tell you, there are no people anymore? Symbols is all we have left. We all represent opportunities you have missed. The 9 ways to get swallowed by the deathly quagmire. What? You should be grateful for me for having replaced you. Otherwise, it would have been you, not me, to rot in this desolate place I'm consigned to. You would have been left hanging by your strings. You wanted to rule over people's fates, too. I understand. Interesting. There's something really interesting here, because by the logic of this is a game, there are only so many programmed things that can be done, and it is kind of all mathematics, right? Who gets sick is dependent on a kind of dice roll at the beginning of each day kind of thing, and stuff like that. So it's interesting. That's, you know, she's been talking about that kind of that calculations she's been making to kind of see what happens in the future, but I haven't taken the most obvious approach to that, which is this is a video game. That's fun. It's fun to see all the kind of elements of story making that's being done here, the kind of not necessarily deconstruction of it, but like it placed on a more straightforward line type of thing.
I think I'm fading. My clothes are worn into holes.
I bow to thee, mistress of the earth. What's on your mind, Lara? Oh, nothing really. Tell me, how much life-giving blood will you be able to make from me? How many doses will it be? No less than 150, I believe. And according to Reuben, anything up to 500. Oh, that's a lot. Even if in a lifeline of relentless activity, I could have never have saved or created that many people. Lara, why you two? How did you of all people end up among the wicked? Self-sacrifice is something one must go about completely, or must go about competently. I was incompetent. That's just nonsense. Simon failed too. That's why you're making the decisions and not him. Or are you him now? Are you raving? No one is more similar than you and Simon. Even we, the bound, are mere playthings, while you are the humans, with a capital H, such as I could have never have given birth to even if I had gotten married. Did you want to? Sort of. Not really, but I'd often think about it at night. No, I ain't hiding my sins anymore, but that was all a pipe dream. Go ahead, do what you must. Poor thing, I'm so sorry for you. I wouldn't want to carry your burden. Terrifying to bear, yet it would be all wrong to refuse it. Please, that's no sin at all. You deserve solace. That's really interesting. We got like bits and pieces of Lara, but compared to some of the other characters, she's kind of gotten the short end of the stick, I guess. Not like 100%, but not really a focus. Kind of in a similar way to Yulia in a way. I don't know, something interesting is happening there. Let's go to talk to Block. I'm curious of when you have a different kind of project, how much. Again, I'm curious of what Patho 2 has to bring to all of this, as it were. So I'm very excited about that.
We can't let cheats play with our free will.
You and I cannot lose. The two will be joined. My power and your conscience. Your purity, Clara. Here's hoping. Or what are you talking about? Will you leave this place with me? Of course. Where am I to be now if not on the battlefield? Excuse me. Exactly. I'm glad you feel the same way I do. You will help me take power in the country. My army will be at your disposal. Make us a tool in his spear hand. I feel I must do what must be done here. If it is necessary that we are rejoined, we will be when the time is ripe. No, I'll let Block remain in a haze. It's interesting when the game chooses to acknowledge that, or like, you know, not necessarily chooses to acknowledge exactly, but kind of plays with the idea of like, there was nothing before this and there's nothing after this. You know? I do think by just putting it all down to that, it does kind of, I think that doesn't do a good. I don't think like that just being the one done is the way to kind of read this story, but I do think it's interesting when it chooses to employ it and against which characters. And like it seems that it's primarily using that against Block and against our healers, Block and Agalia. As Lara would say, the capital H humans. Which, 'tis curious. Will I never get a letter from Barack? Just gonna make a save in case it changes anything.
I'm feverish. My path was called the Return of the Magic. I wanted to claim the power to create a place of miracles and lovely lawlessness.
Sounds like Maria, alright.
I'm too old. I'm deadly tired. My path was called necrology. I wanted to do everything to spare my beloved brother death.
I feel as though my blood is getting thicker. An omen, is it not? If we conquer our passions, it is more from their weakness than from our strength. My path was called the Mistress. I should have held on to the memory of my wife for the time.
What is there to talk about now?
Blimey. Wow, I didn't know he would say that to me. Blimey, look who's here, the Demon Huntress. I hope you got your steak of aspen wood with you. And silver, lots of it. You're still a slave to your world view. Indeed. As it happens, I've discovered the meaning of my freedom. Of course you have, liar. So listen how my plots unfolded. As you probably know, I've been deceived 3 times by people I sincerely trusted. First, the powers that be, then the Inquisitor, and now, finally, I found out what the point of the whole affair is. I'm a plaything, and so undoubtedly are you. I know already. So what now? I suppose you'll suggest I'll leave it to you to decide? Ha! Of course! How did you know? What, for your sake? You're a plaything. Of course not. For the town's sake. Oh, these are just the same, okay. Oh wait, no, there's just you and I, so there's you are my past, and you are my past, meaning that technically there's just me and I. You are my future that I don't even want to happen, it's dull. I like the first one. There are no bachelors and no towns here, blind man. There's just you and I. You are my past, meaning that, technically, there's just me and I. Then the I that's me is the better one. No way, Bachelor. Don't rush to conclusions. I'm on the verge of making my final discovery. In a nutshell, I feel I've been imbued with more meaning than is apparent to me. If anything could be apparent to you, you're boldly framed, devoid of soul and old. Let's see. You're not capable of understanding a thing at this point. Self-denial is the meaning here, silly. Deny yourself and you win. Yes, that's how it is. That is the essence of my discovery. Let's see. If it was for you, you think that because your nature is evil, it's only fitting that you should reject it. You don't say. I've always sensed it in you. At first I thought you were a demon because you weren't like them, with the power of a different kind growling inside you. Now I see why it seemed that way. You're possessed with pride. Let's see. I realize you're closer to victory than me. I've had the humility to greet the greatness of your... This is such a fascinating conversation. He's fucking losing it. Let's see. Not at all. Actually, I realize that you're closer to victory than me. See, I've had the humility to admit the greatness of your feat. After all, unlike me, you had no predisposition for it. Really? Then could you make it so that I could show up at the council and present the commander with arguments in favor of the following arrangement? The corrupt town disappears from the face of the earth, and the polyhedron stays. It's aseptic, and damn it, it simply is worth preserving. What does that require? If my bounder are alive, I will be with you at the council. Are you sure they're really alive? Do you want me to come to the cathedral and join the council? Yes. You're bound are alive and well. I'm counting on you. The Bachelor will come to the cathedral. If I allow him to pass the ultimate judgment, he will convince the commander to preserve the polyhedron. Nope, they're very upset with me. Farewell message of the powers that be. Clara, we want to say goodbye to you. Farewell. You've been the most interesting one to play with. If you want to talk to us, come over to the polyhedron. Be careful not to fix the facets. We are at the very bottom, in the middle of it. Count to 5 and you will see us under the lamp. None of your friends have gathered here. They too want to say goodbye. Did you speak to them yet? Remember, they are scared and they miss you. And yeah, I've talked to everybody, so let's go. I like this also because it does, you know, like acknowledge that like this is the final route you're playing probably, right? Yeah, no, I think it's interesting how Bachelor learns that he is a doll. Like, he refuses to acknowledge it when Haruspex tells him. But, it's interesting, because I do like to play Bachelor as being more just, like, completely bereft of the, like, completely just, like, destroyed by the idea. And I like this version of him where he's just like, it's clearly just like destroyed him a little bit, a bit. But he's like, well, if nothing else, then I should play my role, right? To the completion. Because, I mean, he's still himself at the end of it, even if he learns this, you know? It's fun. It's... Huh? It is fun. I don't think I'm gonna get a letter from the Haruspecs, which is a shame. As it goes. But a little too overeager, as it were. I think before, yeah, I think I just didn't talk to them until the very end, so I think that's on me. Well, too late. As it goes. Yeah, no, they've... Bachelor and Haruspecs are so... all of it. All of it is so interesting. Hey, Con.
Why are they acting so girlishly?
I don't know, man.
If we, the outcast children, live, it's only too easy to fall into pieces.
You're right, man. Time to visit my friends in the polyhedron. Forgot I need to go down the stairs. Why are you here? Go away. I'm scared. You're scary. Scared? Why are you scared, little girl? What did you say your name was? Oh, Thrush. Thrush. See, that's a very fitting name. Did you make it up for the game? Uh-huh. So that I don't catch the disease. Oh, you're afraid of a play disease? How could you possibly catch it? Anything can happen. One doesn't trifle with such things, you know? Sometimes it's all fun and games until it happens for real. That's what I keep telling Measley, but he wouldn't listen. He's picked up he's picked himself up such a quitching name too. Just in case. How old are you, child? I don't know. Not old. You may be a great big dummy, but we're still the same height. That's because I'm hungry. That's why they're the same height. See? Clara's here. Hi, Clara. So, you're not a changeling anymore? What kind of question is that? Uh-oh. You're not going to hurt us, are you? I just asked because I was curious. There. Why would I hurt such sad little things like you? If you'd like, you can ask us questions and we'll answer. The ones who were here before you loved asking us questions, and we didn't mind. We'll give great answers, explaining everything and all. Look, this here, with the whole pebbles, is the abattoir, and that over there, can you imagine, is the polyhedron. You know what? How about you told me instead who your favorites are? Favorites? Mine is, and you know this, the foreman, the great big one. That's who I like the most. The Haruspecs is alright too. I always want to know which one of them wins the fight in the end. And Thrush says Lara, that doll over there. Why? I don't get it either. She does. Go home, kids. There's nothing for you to do here anymore. The game is over. A letter from the makers. please do come by to meet us at the theater if you have a spare minute. We'd like you to have a rather inconsequential but mature talk with you. We apologize in advance for the inconvenience. The people who have executed the whole thing. I like this one because it's the most, because Clara is already aware. It doesn't have to be a thing where it's like... It's also like acknowledging that the other playthroughs have happened, you know? That's why Bachelor knows. And I mean, that's why Haruspex knows as well, but I just don't... Again, like, his story is kind of... I think, like, the major thing with it is that it was always gonna happen, right? And he knows that? It might have been fate, but it was always gonna happen type of thing. So it's, like, really interesting. Where The Bachelor absolutely falls apart at even the idea of it. You know, I really... The writing in this game is very nuanced and interesting. And I adore it, honestly. Yeah, I understand why this game became a cult classic, because of course it did. Even with the more wonkier... Because I do... Judging from people who, like, when I was, like, looking up guides and stuff, there were people who played this game, played the original, right? And the translation of that one is not as good, and stuff like that. But the thing is there's something here, you know? And even a poor translation, or an iffy translation can't destroy that spark, you know? There's something here, and that doesn't mean... That means a lot. Thanks for visiting us. Go in. You're being awaited. Not at all. The real game is what's happening between you and us. That was an official warning I had to make. I warned the previous characters too, but they went straight for questions. Such boring people. Why did you put me in a position like this? What was that split personality gimmick all about? In fact, it was much gimmicker than a split personality. It was the gimmick of choosing one's fate. A logical and temporal conundrum. A Mobius strip of events. A backup plan. And it seems to have worked. Clara is the game's main protagonist. And so is the Sandert. So is the Utopia. What was the point of this whole affair? What was the pestilence for? You see, we're conducting an experiment of sorts. We find the inevitability worrying and impressive. We wanted to see for ourselves just how flawed the idea of constructing a sarcophagus is for a miracle. Or perhaps not a sarcophagus, but a space in which a miracle would always be possible. Why change that? Because that is what she is. It's her nature. And she'll always stay true to it to the end. Well, almost till the end, seeing as she's the only one with the miracle option. Don't miss it. And what about the Haruspex and the Bachelor? What are they for then? What are they for then? Sorry, it says, what are they for then? They haven't performed any miracles, but both have had the chance to accomplish a heroic feat of a different sort. Improve or disprove a number of slippery points in the process. The Haruspex? Diverging branches. He was the only one who could have trained through freedom. He wasn't facing the kind of dilemma that the ever-deceived bachelor found so dismal. Let's see. What, even here? You're not letting me... I think I'll find a way to... That's so funny. This is very funny. What? Even here, you're not letting me go back to the previous selection? I'd be interested to hear about the other hero, too. Well, sorry, you haven't made your choice yet, have you? The miracle's yet to happen. This was just a reminder. Enough, I'm leaving. That's very funny. Well, you know everything about us already. Now that you've gotten this far, you're much more powerful than us. Who was Clara, the Graveborn, the one who raised her hands first? She was indeed conceived as the disease, an instrument of the law, but she was born a thief. At the very moment of her birth, she got a chance to become someone completely different. The world came into this world, having stolen herself the fate of a miracle worker. Does this mean I'm not a toy? Why are the powers that be acting so strangely toward me? Why not? The changeling, not knowing who she was herself, had fallen into our mirror trap. It was a surprise even to the children who were playing with her. So it was a conundrum. Why, there's no point in hiding that we hadn't expected it either, so maybe, just maybe. How? Hadn't you made provisions for every circumstance beforehand? That's not how creation works. When she first performed the lesser miracle, we ourselves were astounded. We had never thought it would work. It shouldn't have. Unbelievable. That's so interesting. So it's not even, yeah, it's so the idea isn't necessarily of quote-unquote split personality. It's about, you know, it's about the nature of choice, right? So she was a thief, so because... That's so interesting. That is so interesting. She has the ability to be either one. You get the choice to choose either one depending on what you're thinking and what you want to say and stuff. That's fun. That's enjoyable. And I like how they do acknowledge that it's like, you played this after playing at least either Harvest or Bachelor. It's so funny. It's so funny how you get to be like, what? I don't even get to make it just go back here? And they're like, nah. You can load up a quick save if you want to do that. I find that very endearing, how they decide to end it with a, end farewell, this is the end. Thank you so much. You know, it's a cute little acknowledgements thing. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I think. I think it might have been 1700. Whatever. Damn, it is raining. You came too early. The queens of this chessboard are assembling to decide the fate of what remains of the sorry little town at 7 p.m. Right now the cathedral's closed. Why, isn't it 7 already? No, not yet. You can take a nap across the street for now. The crucible is no longer a threat to you. Perhaps you'll even dream something unusual. I don't think so. Admit it. You'd be glad if I overslept and missed the council, wouldn't you? What does it matter? Do whatever you please. It's not like it'll change anything. Go ahead and oversleep, or die in your sleep as a parting gesture. It's all up to you now. Are you trying to flatter me? Is it? Sorry. 1200. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, yep, I'm almost there. 30 more minutes. We'll just hang out right here next to each other. It's too wet. We'll guard together. Come, changeling. The assembly is waiting your decision. The queens of this chessboard are in a deadlock. They have each other pinned down. The game very well may end in a tragic stalemate. You're the promoted pawn, and it's the end game. Go and finish it. I know. You didn't have to bother explaining. Ah, fuck, I forgot to bring the horror specs.
That tower will have to be destroyed. That's how we procure Ichor.
And so, are you ready? Your confidants are alive and well. Come to the council. If you really want it, you know my plans. Yes, I do. See you at the council. Well. Look who it is.
I'd give anything for a decent meal.
There's one last thing I want to tell you. Yes? I haven't settled on my sacrificial victim yet. Keep that in mind. Alright? What are you talking about? My principal goal is to not to destroy the polyhedron, but to heal the town. What are you getting at? Hence, I would recommend you turn your attention to Dankovsky, who intends to destroy the town. Touch him. But I am not the plague, and I am not the murderer. And I'm not a murderer. What's a touch from me going to do to him? Alright. Let's not argue in here. Will you let me decide? You know, I've seen all this already. So what's the difference? Nothing's changed. If you really think so, step aside. Let me make the decision. If you don't understand anything, then mine and the Bachelor's decisions are inherently better than yours. And mine is, of course, better than the Bachelor's. Why so? There's more feeling in it. No, not more. Just as much, or as little.
Cost what it may, the tower should remain intact. The tower is clean.
Stop. Hear me out before you approach Block. Speak. You're going to talk about your plan, aren't you? Yes, I admit I have an alternative motive here. I'll be glad if I didn't have to wreck the town. I might even believe the Ripper. Wild though the idea may be, but the only thing he wants to remove is Agalia from his prophecy. But what are you talking about? What prophecy? The kin demand that he kill her. She is his sacrifice. Without it, they won't acknowledge him as Foreman and Warden. He wants to deceive both them and Fate, And to frame the matter differently, he wants to kill the polyhedron. What? Is it alive? Why do you put it like that? Yes, I love the polyhedron. It is alive, no less alive than the Earth, and it is worthy of love. It, too, is inhabited by a collective body. It, too, is infused with the divine essence. It, too, is the dwelling place of a soul, if you'd like. The whole town is like a pair of conjoined twins. Everything is alive here, and I understand this very well. You can't even imagine how well. So you're leaving the decision to me? But what's the point? Do tell me. And be careful. A lot will depend on your answer. The point is that in this case, the winner will be love. Right? No. Mere humanity. Any kind of it, even malicious, and yet still a living one. We win and you lose here, you see? You're wrong. Go. There's your Ava crying by the railing. You'll be the only one who sees her.
There's little time left, and I still need to do so much.
You have no business being here, Changeling. You shouldn't have come here. We've been doing just fine without you. I'm sure you have. I feel sorry for you, Agalia Lilich. You are an instrument of the law. At least keep that in mind how you've chanced to be able to make the choice here. Don't try to be something greater than you are. That's the best you can do in your position. You're wrong, Agalia Lilich. I could do a lot in my position. You want to settle scores with me, is that it? You haven't observed any logic in your words and actions, Agalia Lilich. If I was an instrument of the law, why did you banish me? Because you had yielded to a temptation. You had embarked on a perverse course of action to preserve this outrageous synthesis, which is nothing but a death machine, and to add more deaths to the tally for the sake of its preservation. Your words also led astray the Bachelor of the Harspects, to whom I have taken much pains to explain the real state of affairs. Let's see. Really? I didn't know that. Well, enough idle blather. Since you've already turned up and made a farce out of this council, decide quickly and let's be done with it. We're not going to hear anything worthwhile here. Yes, I don't like ceremony and circumlocution either.
What is there to talk about now?
It's good that you found me here and approached me. Now you have to perform the sacrament for which you, changeling, thief, saint, sandpiss, envoy of the law and harbinger, came into this world. Are you ready? Who am I, sister? That is exactly what is about to be ascertained, and you are the only one who can ascertain it. That is the essence of the sacrament. By establishing the present, you will establish the past, and with that which is yet to be done, you will establish that which seems to have been done beforehand. It has only worked the opposite way before. Is it true that I'm an instrument of the law? There really is an envoy of the law in this town, and it's one of the new arrivals. Is it perhaps the Bachelor or the Harspects? It's evident that both of them are destroyers. Each of them has already accepted the inevitable. But could it be you? It would make things that much worse. How do we find out then? We can't. We can only make it happen. How can I know something that hasn't been done yet? I'm not omnipotent. Or aren't you? I do exist, sister, but in a transient way. For now, you are still the disease, and I am the persecuted saint. The problem is, there is no me yet. I'm a figment of your imagination, a consequence of a lie you told, and yet how wonderful that lie turned out to be. Theft had made a miracle possible. The Inquisitor insists that miracles and me are mutually exclusive. I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Agalia doesn't tell the whole truth. From her point of view, there are no such thing as miracles. That's just the way she was made. But we, not Simon, are living proof to the contrary. You have a chance to preserve things as they are. You can do things that others can't. They are impeded by enmities and hatred. Who's enemies with whom, sister? The Inquisitor and the Commander, the High Respects and the Bachelor, and then even more conflict along these lines. All of them are bent on destroying what they detest. If you want to perform a miracle, remove the threat to each of the town's organs. Enough. Who am I? Speak. You are free to choose your own fate. Now is your time to decide who you've been all along. It is only from a law's perspective that you're the disease. But you don't recognize the law. You're a thief. You'll escape the law by stealing yourself the path of a miracle worker. You'll defeat it only by performing a genuine miracle. If only.
We can't let cheats play with our free will.
Well then, let us commence. I am going to ask you formally, in order to get this over with quickly. One word from you and it happens. So you are positive that it was neither greed, nor plotting, nor circumstance that has informed you of your choice, but your conscience alone. I've been given orders to level everything here, but if it isn't necessary, I'll trust you on it. My trust for you is infinite. There is no need to destroy anything. We can do well together without gunfire and preserve the world as it is, even though many may think it impossible. Good. Do you really know a way to preserve this town? Yes. I'm restoring the chain of creation. I'm giving Simon back to the town. I'm closing the chain. I hereby declare that from now on, only goodwill, love, and dedication shall, time and time again, be the safeguards of this tiny world's existence. Would you like to know how I'm going to do it? I hereby announce that the choice has been made. The council is dismissed. The choice has been made. Now everything's been resolved. Why? What for? What is the reasoning behind this ludicrous decision? Didn't I explain everything to you? The strings were given to you, you only needed to pull. Did you act on a whim? Or was it your decision? A calculated conclusion? I find it hard to believe that you were driven by vengeance alone. No, this is not how it was. I think I understand now. You know you are going to leave us before long, so you can renounce your chance to perform a miracle and assume the mantle of the law. You hold out to our mutual enemy to your breast and dive headfirst into the chasm. Is this your attempt to dismiss the inevitable? There is still hope, however, for even though you will leave, I will stay. I will remain here to keep the fate that you have rejected. Isn't that so? No. Don't answer me. Just remember I will always be by your side. And I will be waiting.
did it, it was a free choice. We acknowledge the victory of the player.
It is indeed miraculous. The exit is clear. It shouldn't have happened. The miracle must be real.
that is it for Pathologic Classic HD. I mean, I think my opinion on this game is pretty clear. I think it is a masterpiece, even if it does sometimes fall into pitfalls, or pitfalls, here and there. I think as a cohesive thing, I think, and with the story it's been telling and the way the characters are written and told and all that nuance, I think like this game is a masterpiece. I don't know what to say. Sure, is it fun to play sometimes? Not really. Once you kind of get into it, it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And you know, but the thing is what the gameplay kind of does do is I think a thing that I've kind of like in the last few months I've kind of realized that is an important delineation for me is whether like a game is fun to play or interesting, because I feel like games that are fun to play can stand on their own regardless of anything else. Sometimes the other stuff can like tilt too bad to make it not playable, but you know, and then you like I will not characterize Pathologic as a fun game, as it were. But I don't think it's necessarily trying to be, right? Like, it is a miserable situation, and it is trying to gamify that miserable experience. And, like, I think it does a really good job of balancing all that. Not 100% all the time. Again, I think this game can be very frustrating at times, because it is easy to miss things. Like I played the entire changeling route without a gun. I just never got one because I just missed that dialogue option, and then that was it. And it's very easy to do something like that. I didn't go back on it because I like felt fine about the choices I had made. It wasn't like I cut myself off a quest or something like that. But there's something really interesting about just being able to like miss a whole thing, because it's like she has a ranged blast, but like if I had a working gun, you know, I could just headshot some guys and then be on my way. Especially towards some of the like albino stuff and some of the more like group fighting stuff. But I do think there is interesting stuff being played out with like Clara sneaking around and like having to run away from Barley, like basically run to the box that you can jump on, that you would know you can jump on if you played Bachelor Round and played around, because you have to defeat all of those guys. So yeah, like I do think like this game does get immensely frustrating in the infected districts. I feel like that makes sense. During some of the group fight scenes and stuff like that, I feel like that makes it difficult. And I think out of all the routes I played, even though like I think I like the concept and everything of the Bachelor route best, because he is such a tragic figure, and it is just like you're watching him fall apart at the seams. And then like I think like I like sympathize and like am more aligned with Haruspex as a whole, right? Like even though I do think that his route is one of the more frustrating and difficult ones to play, and on purpose, right? Like I think that is a purposeful thing that was done. Like it is harder to play than Changeling route. Even though in Changeling route your reputation is constantly dropping, it's very easy to just heal somebody. Haruspex, you're constantly, I think like Haruspec's route is like kind of the culmination of the kind of game mechanics hitting against each other in this game, which is also partially why I'm really interested in Patho 2, because I think like the developers have realized that as well. And his kind of whole thing becomes a really interesting resource management thing where it's like your inventory gets full really quickly because you need such and such things to kind of do your thing. Trade with the twiring, make your extracts, this and that. You're going to spend a lot of time just walking through the steppe. And stuff like that, which is... Right, like there's a different feeling than of it from Bachelor and like from Changeling too, right? That is not the focus of those routes. But yeah, so I will be back to Pathologic. I will be back with Pathologic 2 sometime. What's next is after this, is going to be the first episode of Pentiment. Pentiment is one of the first games I wanted to play for this channel, and I had a lot of false starts in the very beginning. Just an FYI, the first 3 episodes of the Pentiment playthrough, I recorded back in August when I first tried to break my hiatus, before going to Pathologic in October. And then from episode 4 on, those will be post-Pathologic after this. It might be audibly clear as well because of new microphone. And ideally with those Pentiment episodes, I will have the whole mic setup as opposed to just bare mic on a stand that it's not made for, so that I could use it. Because even though I could have used my headset mic and that probably would have been easier, I got a new toy. I want to play with my new toy. Yeah, it's really interesting because it's like you play through the Changeling route and they're like, you'll be back. And the thing is that they're right, I will be back. I've made it myself very clear that I want to replay this game sometime, especially like I want to play the game. I mean, I downloaded a version separately that's just the Russian language, which has the Russian voices, but the English translation. None of it will be subtitled because none of the dialogue is subtitled in this game. But I figure that would be fun to kind of hear that. To listen to that. And also to, like, if I come back to this game, it will be in a no cheating scenario, which means it might take me 10,000 kajillion years to beat, but I think it would be a fun challenge, and that's a future thing also. Because now that I've kind of completed what I wanted to do with this game, which is to, like, know what it's about kind of deal, and kind of experience it, I think, like, it'll make it a lot easier for me to kind of deal with the gameplay, because it'll be like, what kind of thing is being told here? What kind of story am I telling by doing this? So that will be really fun. It's so interesting. There's like a tinge of like a meta element of like, this is a game, you'll come back to it. That it's like present in a lot of like modern games, you know, like Undertale, you don't really want to go back and replay it. Like, I'm just thinking of the really popular ones, like Doki Doki Literature Club, you know, delete the game files, even though that's not how making visual novels works at all. And like, I like Undertale. I think DDLC does some interesting things, and it's fun to... It is fun to see the different visual novel effects and how those are done. That is the most exciting part of that game to me. Other visual novels have done similar things and better with more intention or just more thought, and sometimes even better with less thought. Visual novels are a huge genre, and I'm a big fan of them, and there are a lot of them. So like, it's really interesting, like, the game playing with this kind of meta logic to it that exists throughout the whole thing, but I like how it works with it in such a way where it's just like, this is a game, you are experiencing a story, part of what makes the story interesting is that it's realistic. Part of what makes the story resonate is that the characters can be relatable, are complex, have different ideas, are constantly battling each other with various conflicts, you know. Things here are complicated and interesting. And then you have are complicated and interesting. And then you have this kind of edge scenario where it's like there is some mysticism going on, there are weird things going on. Like, this is still fiction, even though like the thing about a good story is you can read an entirely huge fantasy that's not realistic at all and still find all of those things with it. And then there's also that's just kind of the most realistic part of it all. Also, a little more complicated there, I think, but I don't know, there's something really interesting about it, because it's like, this did impact you real. Like, this is real. This is a real thing. The characters are fictional. They are dolls that we're playing with. They're not real people in that way. But, like, the story you experienced and the people that you were with that whole time, that was real to you. That was real to you for a time. Like, you cared about these characters enough to get to the end of this game and to see what's going on. You know, like, you brought Dankovsky to the tragic conclusion that was always going to happen. You helped Haruspex, despite it all, achieve his fate, achieve the thing that he was destined to do. Clara, you helped her make a miracle. And there's something just really... Yeah, the thing is about this game is that there's a lot of nuance and a lot of different angles that you can just take the same... Different angles that you could take, like, the same scenes and everything in. It's very expansive and thought out in that way, where it allows for a lot of that. Not all of it, for sure, but for some of it, I think it's very well told, and really interesting. You know, like, what is fiction, what's fictional, what isn't, what's real, what isn't. You know, like, the characters are fictional, so, like, various things don't exist, obviously. But at the same time, you know, like, in this moment, in this scenario of events, it is real. These characters are real. They are real to each other, as is designed, and they were always going to do the same things no matter what, because that's what the story entails and what they were made to do. And I think there's something really interesting about that. Yeah, so, yep, as I said earlier, next up is Pentiment. I'll probably play Patho 2 Marble Nest, the DLC that released before the original game came out, I think, because I think Patho 2 came out in, like, 2019, and I think Marble Nest came out in, like, 2016. So it seemed to be, like, a pretty early on demo of the thing, probably when they were still planning to do all three healers in that game, but clearly didn't work. I am curious of what it does with it and what, like, the state of affairs is. Then I plan on playing Alan Wake 2. I don't know if I'll play something else in between then as well, any other kind of short game or anything like that. Everything's game to change at any point. But then sometime after Alan Wake 2, I do want to play Patho 2. I think that's the time for it. That probably won't be till the end of the year when Patho 3 is released. And I'll probably play something else after I finish 2, before going to 3 anyway, regardless. So, but that's it for today. I hope you all have a great one. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. This is a game that got me out of my hiatus, and I've been doing pretty solidly. And yeah, no, I've just been playing this game since October. It's been a number of months. And technically I've played it 3 times. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to check this game out, I recommend it for sure. There is something to experiencing it yourself. You can do console commands really easily, just look it up. I got my copy on, I think it's like $2 or $5 on Steam or something, and I think I got it like for $1. So like, and you see how big this game is, like $5 is greatly underselling it. And I got Patho 2 also on a different sale, so I think I got that for like $25, which is also crazy low. But I'm not gonna complain for like the kind of thing it is, the object it is. But yeah, that is where I'm gonna end it. I hope you all have a great one, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!